Welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We are inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Happy to be here with you Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. This entire week, I am in two places at once. Well, kind of three. So I'm at the ACC kickoff and the AAC kickoff, which are both in Charlotte, but I'll be in two different locations. And of course, we'll be on the air with you. So I am pulling triple duty this week. And then if you add in Super Powered Pop and what we're doing with Parker, Banner, Kent, and Wayne down in Cornelius, North Carolina, just outside of Charlotte, then we're doing four things at once. So never a dull moment. Happy to be here. God is great. And happy start to your week. So like I said, ACC kickoff coverage, AAC kickoff coverage, and of course on Wake Up Call this week, we got a bunch of fantastic broadcasts that are going to be happening here for you. DT and Murphy today to start off your week, as always, with Brendan Murphy and myself. We'll be talking about Major League Baseball, the NFL, a little bit of golf, and then we'll jump into Sports Card Show and Tell, coming off of not one, but two trade nights in 1 week for GG Cards and Breaks here in Central New York. The first one at Sports Zone Academy right off of Court Street in Syracuse. The second on 3680 Milton Avenue and our proud partners, home of the Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York. Also coming up this week, perfect timing. He was with me last year for AAC kickoff, and he'll be with me again as he's heading to the NFL, and that is Rajay Harris from East Carolina. 1,166 rushing yards this past season, 11 touchdowns, and his best numbers across the board of his entire career, including 5.7 yards per carry. He just worked out with the Buffalo Bills, and he'll be with me this week. I'll also have a wonderful opportunity to expand my conversation with Brennan Armstrong, who I spoke with when he was a Virginia quarterback, an NC State quarterback, both at ACC kickoff. And so he'll be a part of this week as well, ironically, with the ACC kickoff going on. And Brennan and I will talk about life after football. We'll break down his time, coaches, what he's learned as a quarterback. And this is a story that literally, just like Rajay's does, it talks about life and sports at the same time, bonding what we stand for here at Wake Up Call, which is where sports meets life. Also, this week, Chris Heidel and Adam Lemarisse will be joining me on the broadcast of Herb FM Radio to preview ACC kickoff. That'll be happening on Tuesday. So a lot of great stuff that's happening here this week, plus my Commissioner Corner conversation with the Big Sky Commissioner, who is now the Vice President of the CCA, and can't wait to share that with you. He's going to be working closely with someone he knows very well, and I know well, ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips, who is now the president of the CCA, overseeing all 32 Division I conferences. So we'll talk with Tom Wistersill, the Big Sky Commissioner, about so many things going on nationally with the Big Sky Conference, with college football, with the FCS, and of course we'll take a look at the CCA. So you got a bunch of amazing things coming up for you this week inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Thanks for being with us up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. So with that being said, I bring in the man that is with me here to start off the week, and that is Mr. Murphalation for the Nation. Last week, we were together in studio, and after we were together in studio, we golfed together, and we did better than Brendan's prediction, so I'll let him tell you that since it was his prediction.
We did.
And we had a great time doing our card show with GG Cards and Breaks going to trade night, and of course also being a part of the golf tournament. So with that being said, Murph, how are you? And feel free to share, since the last time we saw each other, you were here for a few days.
I was doing good. That was a great time up last week. It was nice to get to see you in person for a change. Hopefully we can do that again at least one or two more times before the end of the year. But yeah, I mean, we started off with the golf tournament. I predicted on the show 500 par, 66, and we bested that by 2 shots, 7 under 64. So I don't even think we cracked the top 10. To be honest, I don't remember, but I don't think we were in the top 10. I think what was the winning score? Is it 58?
The winning
Something
score
like that?
was -12.
So 58. No, that would be 59.
Yeah, that's what it was, 59.
So 59 would be okay.
Because
But
71 was
still,
par.
like, 7 under in a scramble is still a respectable score. I mean, we didn't start off too well. We made a bogey on the very first hole, and it was because of a three putt, and none of us hit very good putts the first time, and then we couldn't make the second one. So that was not ideal. The greens were not as quick as we thought they were going to be on that first downhill putt, but we rebounded. I mean, we had a stretch, I think, where we made 4 birdies in a row to get back to 3 under, and um, played really well. You made some good putts for us. I mean, I think it was on the 16th or 17th hole where you made like a 25-foot bomb.
Yeah, I got the
So
ones I made. I got the birdie on 11. My dad set it up, and I got a birdie on hole 14.
mhm.
28-foot birdie on hole 4, which is a par 5, and then the next hole, which is also a par 5, got the back-to-back birdie, and then also got a birdie on the final hole on hole 7. So I putted in 5 birdies, 2 on the par 5s that we had back-to-back.
Yeah. I mean, we had some. I mean, I I kind of left you with a couple real like kick-ins. Like I hit my wedges really well last Monday, so like we had a few kick-ins where I basically didn't even bother bringing my putter, and I just left it to you and your dad, and I knew one of you guys was gonna make it. So like I wasn't all that concerned about it, but we had a great time. I did not get a chance to make my $5,000 putt or even take my $5,000 putt. I don't even think they did the drawing for that at all. I mean, I think what 20 something people made the putt
Yeah,
on
I
the
said 25 people
in the
made
putting
it.
contest. So
Yeah. One guy said, he was like, I don't know what happened. 2 guys on our team made it. We never heard about it. So.
yeah, I don't know what happened either. I don't know. I mean, I made it. I got a couple of good reads from you and Mike. So I made it on the first putt. So I'm not gonna. It was nice. I wish I would have had a chance to actually, try to hit that 50-foot putt, but it's all good. But we had an awesome time. Um, it was a lot of fun. You hit some really good putts. Your dad hit some pretty good iron shots. Mike was really good off the tee.
Yeah.
Basically, was giving me a chance to just try to rip one down the middle, and it was a lot of fun. But that was the first time we got to go out on the golf course, and it was a lot of fun. So I'm glad we got to do it. I'm hopeful we get to do it again, and that was a lot of fun. Some of the and I said this before. It was the best, probably the most useful tee gifts I've ever gotten at an outing. We got a not really nice pullover, which I don't know if it's a rain jacket or what it is, but it's a really nice pullover, nice polo, and a hat. Like that's something that's useful. Half the time you go to these outings and you get, a goodie bag with with a sleeve of, I don't know, Pinnacle golf balls and 6 tees and some other random crap that nobody's ever going to use. So like, this was actually a really nice, useful tea gift.
Well, and it used to be more when Bob was there. Bob Beretta was there. There was an umbrella. Umbrella was the main gift. We got a giant cooler that was on wheels with a handle, and we also got which I never have, and I need them for my godson's soccer games. Is that we got one of those foldable chairs that you can put in the thing and like carry it with you. So normally there's like a big,
Oh yeah.
there's normally a big gift, which has been incredible. And then this year normally they have the pullover and a hat to go with whatever this thing is. But this year, they did close this year, and some good stuff. Always appreciate. I mean, listen, free stuff is free, and well, not free, but and
Can't argue with
so
that.
it was definitely good to get out there and have the best hurrah be the last hurrah. So that this year was definitely the best that our team has done. I saw Pat Lynch over this past weekend, and we missed Pat. So definitely want to give a shout out to Pat as well. You'd like him, Brendan. He's a good guy. So Yeah, Mike had some awesome shots. You had some awesome shots. My dad had his moments by the green and getting things up there. I always tell people I'm Mariano
Yeah, few
Rivera.
pretty darn good drives too.
My dad's good. My dad does a good job. So I definitely had a good time. I had fun, and it was definitely exciting. And I feel like I've gotten better each year, so I'm going to take that with me. And I'm just happy that I get to go out
That
there with
pint of
my
Guinness
dad.
after the round hit different. That was a very good pint of Guinness.
Yeah, no, it was the whole thing was just a really nice opportunity. And speaking of golf, Scottie Scheffler has won the Open Championship for the third leg of a career Grand Slam. Now, Scottie Scheffler, craziness here, just seeing what he's done in his time and how he has been a name that becomes more and more frequent on the lips of people around this country and even outside of this country. So, Scottie doing what he did, a 68 on Sunday to cruise to a four-stroke victory in the Open Championship at Royal. And then looking at here, the outcome was never in doubt on Sunday. Golfer's number one player finished at 17 under, 267, delivering yet another dominant performance to win his second major title this year alone in 2025 and grab the third leg of the career Grand Slam. He tapped in for par on the final hole, and Scheffler saw his family thrust both arms up into the air, pumped both arms, and tossed his cap in the air. I'm looking at that picture right now, and he's 29 years old. Crazy that he is getting ever closer to a Grand Slam. He became just the fourth player in Open Championship history to shoot 68 or better in all four rounds, joining Colin Morikawa, 2021.
Montgomery or Morikawa?
Morikawa,
Yep.
yeah. And then Henrik Stenson, 2016. And Jesper Parnevik in 1994. The start of Scheffler's final round was ideal from the first cut out of the rough. He hit his approach to the right side of the green on the slope. The ball trickled back and then rolled down to 10 inches from the cup for a tap-in birdie. Scheffler already won the PGA Championship by 5 shots this year. He won the Masters last year by 4 shots, and the Masters in 2022 by 3 shots. And so before Sunday, no one had ever won each of their first 4 major titles by 3 shots or more. So he is now accompanied by himself with that. Once again, before Sunday of this past week, no one had ever won each of their first 4 major titles by 3 shots or more. He did that with the PGA Championship as well as here, and did it in the Masters twice, and then, of course, did it most recently and what we're talking about for the Open. So he's only got one more that he has to win. He's become the third golfer to win multiple majors by 4 or more strokes in a single year. He joins Ben Hogan, Masters, U.S. Open, and the Open in 53. And Tiger Woods, U.S. Open and the Open in 2000. Scheffler has won 20 times worldwide since February of 2022, and this was the 11th straight time he turned a 54-hole lead into a victory. Crazy. Absolutely crazy to see what he has done. So, Murph, I will now send it off to you to give your thoughts on the number one golfer in the world.
Yeah, going into the day, I think after round 3 yesterday, I feel like most golf fans knew that it was over, that Scottie was going to win. It was just going to be a matter of by how much. And there was a point today where he had a 7-shot lead on the back 9. He made a double bogey, and then he kind of came back down to earth a little bit. But, I mean, he knew full well he didn't need to do anything crazy. He just needed to make pars. He didn't even need to make birdies anymore because these guys had to catch him. He's like, you basically just need to do what you can and just don't make any bogeys. Just go out there, hit greens, 2-putt, get out of there. And that's all he really needed to do, and that's what he did. And Scottie Scheffler, what we've seen over the past, 3 years or so, is the best player in the world by far. This is probably the widest margin between number 1 and number 2 in the world since Tiger and whoever else was number 2 in the world when Tiger was number 1 at all the different times in his career he was. A funny stat, too, that Tiger had, I believe it was 1,197 days between his first and fourth majors. Today, since Scottie's first major, was 1,197 days. So from first to fourth major, he is tied to the day with Tiger Woods. So that is awfully impressive, by the way, as well. Good little nugget of history there. But Scottie Scheffler over the years has kind of been. I've seen people kind of comparing him to Nikola Jokic in the NBA, where like it's almost like he doesn't care. He just goes out and he's just so much better than everybody else, and he just goes out and dominates. I don't necessarily think that that's true. I think Scottie loves to compete. I think he loves to win. I also think he loves his wife and his son.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a new dad. His son Bennett's less than a year old. So, Bennett, actually, he might be just over a year old now. I don't remember. Um, but, I mean, his wife and his son were there and at Royal Portrush in Northern Ireland. And uh, it's always a cool thing to see, especially when the winner gets to, share a moment with his family or with his son or with his kids afterwards. So it's something that's pretty cool. And to kind of touch on something else with it being in Rory McIlroy's homeland of Northern Ireland, getting to play at Royal Portrush. He didn't start the week all that well. It was an opening round even par 72, and he kind of just went out there and just did some things and was nothing really spectacular. He had a solid week. I mean, he had some poor shots today, and I think a lot of that was partly trying to go and catch Scottie. And Scottie was 4 shots ahead at the start of the day. Actually, I think 5 shots ahead at the start of the day. Rory was, I think, 7 or 8 back. Rory had no chance unless he went like berserk in that final round, and obviously that didn't happen. But if you didn't see it though, in round 3 there was a really I'm gonna say it will eventually be iconic because it's pretty darn funny. Where Rory was in the tall grass and he hit a pretty good shot, and after he hit the ball, another ball popped up from inside of the fescue and sat right next to Rory. And then he looks down, he's like, where did this come from? It was just the ball that was just chilling in the tall grass, and you had no idea it was there. It must have been stomped on by, some of the fans there that were some of the spectators that were there this week. But that was kind of funny. Bryson made a run after an opening round 78. He ended up finishing in I believe a tie for 10th. So that was pretty darn impressive considering where he started the week. Harris English with another second place finish in a major, which for the second time this year is pretty good. I think Harris English is a player that's eventually going to get his major. It's just a matter of where and when. But the one guy I really want to shout out is Chris Gotterup. And Chris Gotterup was the winner of the Scottish Open last week. And he needed to win that event to qualify for the Open, and he did. So a huge shout out to him and a huge congratulations to him. He comes in third. So he gave himself a chance to win on Sunday, and he wasn't even expected to play in the Open Championship, let alone have a chance to win on Sunday, and finishes solo third. Takes home about a little over $1.1 million and 350 FedEx Cup points. So that was awfully impressive to see. Some notables that did not do particularly well. I mean, you saw Colin Morikawa miss the cut. Brooks Koepka missed the cut. Darren Clark, who was a good player back in his day, he missed the cut. Zach Johnson, former U.S. Ryder Cup captain and Masters champion, missed the cut. Nick Taylor from Canada, who we've known to be a very good player, missed the cut. Jason Day missed the cut. Ben Griffin missed the cut. But then you had some guys that really struggled over the weekend. Victor Hovland did make the cut, but he ended up finishing in a tie for 63rd. Did not play particularly well this weekend. Phil Mickelson, same thing. Ended up shooting a 76 on Saturday. Fell down the leaderboard quite a bit. Shane Lowry in Ireland, who was the winner the last time the Open was played at Royal Portrush, finishes in a tie for 40th. Justin Thomas, John Rahm, tied for 34th. Neither one particularly played poorly, but neither one particularly played well either. Your U.S. Open champion, J.J. Spawn, finished in a tie for 23rd at 6 under par. And then he come back to the top. Harris English was 13 under. Scottie was 17 under. Xander Schauffele, again, was the defending champion, and he had a decent week. 3 rounds in the 60s, but didn't really wow you with his play or anything. But, it was Scottie Scheffler's day. Scottie Scheffler dominated as he typically does. And it just seems, is it crazy to say it's nonchalant? Because it just seems like it's so easy. Every time he goes out, he's just hitting greens and he's, trying to make putts. He'll hit some great shots where he leaves himself a kick in for birdie. He's not even necessarily doing anything spectacular. He is such an outstanding and well-rounded player. Other than putting, he's got, I don't know exactly where he ranks, but he's got to be in the top 10 in strokes gained across the board. In strokes gains off the tee, strokes gained approach, around the green, tee to green. Like, he's that good. And if you went out and watched him play and you saw his golf swing, you'd be like, this guy can't be the number one player in the world. He's got a bad swing. He's got this funky footwork, but who cares? People said Tiger Woods didn't have a great golf swing. Tiger Woods just had a vicious golf swing. And realistically, this is the first time, and I've said this, I've kind of sort of said this at different times, but I think now it's definitely true. This is the closest thing to Prime Tiger that we have seen since Prime Tiger. And people might think that that's a hot take, but at the same time, there has been absolutely nobody that has dominated the way Tiger did. This is the closest thing to it. And Scottie Scheffler at 29 years old, with 4 major championships already under his belt, 3/4 of the way to the career Grand Slam. And he's typically performed good, not great at the U.S. Open. I still think he's going to get one. He's too good not to. I mean, when Phil Mickelson got his 3rd leg of the career Grand Slam, he was already in his, I think, mid to late 30s, might have even been older than that. So for Phil Mickelson, you kind of knew it was never coming. Or you knew that something really had to go right for him to get there. So looking at Scottie at 29 years old, I can't see him relinquishing world number 1 for at least another 5 years. But he's got to go 10 more years to break Tiger's record of weeks held at number 1. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but I do see a U.S. Open in his future. I also see double-digit major championships in his future. Can he get to 15 and tie Tiger? Can he get to 18 and tie Jack? I don't know. But he's definitely got a chance with how consistent he plays, how much work he puts in, how much better he is than everybody else. This dude could roll out of bed and shoot 62 at your local muni course, or shoot 58, 57 at your local muni course. He easily could. You send him anywhere. If he rolled out of bed, took a plane, went to Pine Valley, had a half-decent caddy that knew the place, I don't doubt that he could just go break the course record there. It could easily be done. He's won at Augusta. He's won now at Royal Portrush. Where was the PGA this year? Was it Valhalla? No. Where was the PGA?
This year
Hang
for
on.
2025 PGA location. Well, I think it was. Oh no, it was Charlotte.
Quail Hollow.
Yeah,
Quail
because my
Hollow.
buddy went out to
I mean,
Charlotte for it.
that's also a course that's a tour stop. So like, I don't like when they have major championships at tour venues other than maybe Pebble Beach. But I mean, you look at that, and you look at Scottie Scheffler and what he's been doing over the course of his career. It can easily be done. But the 2026, let me look at the future U.S. Open venues just to kind of get an idea and maybe see if any of these courses maybe would work for him, like how he hits the ball. Hold on. Future U.S. Open sites. So let's see. We got Shinnecock next year. Well, the last 3 times a major was played in the state of New York, Brooks Koepka won. So I would be looking at Brooks Koepka in at Shinnecock in 2026. But that's a place that could line up well for Scottie. The one that definitely lines up well for Scottie is 2027 at Pebble Beach. He's won at Pebble Beach before. He's the type of guy that can easily go to Pebble Beach and win by 5 or 6. So for me, my prediction as to where he gets that career Grand Slam, my prediction is 2027 at Pebble Beach. But I also think that will be his 6th major, because I think he wins one more before completing the career Grand Slam. That would be my guess. But after Pebble, you got Winged Foot in 28. You got back to Pinehurst in 2029. Marion in 2030. Marion, a Philadelphia golf course. Absolutely gorgeous. Riviera in 2031. Back to Pebble 2032. Back to Oakmont 2033. Oakland Hills 2034. Pinehurst 2035. And then we kind of get your rotation again. And there's a few years in here that aren't settled yet in the 2040s. Like 2043 is not settled yet. 45, 46, 48. Yeah, none of those venues are picked yet. But I think Pebble is probably where Scottie gets it done. To me, but I also think he's going to have to go low on that one. Pebble Beach is a golf course that is set up where it can be difficult in the U.S. Open, especially if you get high winds. Like, that golf course is probably as close to, Scottish link style weather as you can get. And now, don't get me wrong, you can have 70 and sunny at Pebble Beach in the middle of June or warmer. But you could also get 55 pouring rain and 25-mile-an-hour winds that make people have to hit 6-iron on the 105-yard seventh hole, the famous par 3. So, like, my prediction is that he gets it done at Pebble Beach. I could see him doing it at Wingfoot at Shinnecock next year. But if I had to put money on anybody right now for 2026 in the U.S. Open, it's probably Brooks Koepka, because that dude just dominates the state of New York. So we'll see. I'm really looking forward to seeing Scottie go for it now, because for years and years and years we talked about Rory getting his career Grand Slam, and he got his at the Masters this year. And then we kind of had the talk of, all right, who's next? And Jordan Spieth was the guy that already had 3. All he needed was I believe the PGA. And Jordan Spieth has not been the same. Like, he's going to be in the Phil Mickelson boat. I don't see him ever getting it done. But when you look at Scottie, and he had 1 of the 4 completed at the beginning of this year. Then he goes and wins the PGA. Now he goes and wins the Open. So now he's got 3. He's easily the betting favorite to be the next one to complete the career Grand Slam. But then after him, I don't know who else you're going to have. It might be somebody that we've never heard of yet. It very well could be. But big shout out to Scottie. I know I kind of took the mic and just ran with it for a little bit there, but that was, I mean, when the majors come around, it's something that we got to talk about. We've now got a couple months till the Ryder Cup at Bethpage, and I'm really looking forward to that. Scottie obviously is going to be your best player on the American team. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, the U.S. wants to defend their home soil. A visiting team has not won the Ryder Cup, and I don't think since about 2010. I could be wrong about that, but it's been a long time since a visiting team has won the Ryder Cup. So I'm really looking forward to that. Scottie obviously going to be at the forefront of that team. FedEx Cup playoffs are going to be coming up here real soon. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. But yeah, it's huge congratulations to Scottie. He's 3/4 of the way there. He will get there, and you can take that to the bank. He will win a U.S. Open someday. I don't know when. I still think it'll be at Pebble in 2 years, but he will get his career Grand Slam, and he will win. Probably, I think he gets to double-digit majors as well.
Yeah, Scottie definitely, I mean, he's one away. So for those of you that don't know that are listening in and want to know those 4 major championships in golf, if you're just getting into golf or getting into the conversation, the Masters Tournament, the PGA Championship, the U.S. Open, and the Open Championship, which is also known as the British Open, is what Scottie Scheffler just won. So the only thing that he has to do from here is to go after the U.S. Open and get that. He has 2 Masters in 2022 and 24, PGA Championship in 2025, and now the Open Championship also in 2025. Those that have hit the career Grand Slam of having all 4 major wins, as we mentioned earlier this year when Rory McIlroy became the 6th to do it. 6 players all time, Gene Sarazen, as well as Ben Hogan, Gary Player, Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, and now Rory McIlroy, thanks to the 2025 Masters victory. Those are your 6 that have won a Grand Slam in their career. Scottie Scheffler is the U.S. Open away from winning and becoming the 7th player to have a Grand Slam in the world of all 4 major championships in professional golf here. So very excited for Scottie, excited for Rory that he got to do it, and for everything that is coming up here in the golf world. And I have no doubt in my mind that Scottie's not only going to get the Grand Slam, but I am sure he will find his way to many, many more titles and continue to win and be incredible. Bryson DeChambeau, Scottie Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Jordan Spieth, as you said. I mean, there's so many guys to watch in today's golf, and so many women to watch in today's golf as well that have had incredible careers. And I do want to give shout outs as well as we look on the women's side when it comes to major wins in 2025. And I know we've mentioned them here on the show, but on the LPGA, to see, a lot of different things that have happened here and the breakdown of what has gone on with the women's side of golf and the majors in 2025. So congratulations to, and there were some names that maybe people thought when you looked at Stark, and back on May 29th to June 1st, the U.S. Women's Open, and that location was in Wisconsin. And then we just saw in the Chevron Championship, talking about the Woodlands in Texas, Mao Saigo winning that championship April 24th to the 27th. And then we have coming up here, we have a bunch that are going to be on their way. And so July 31st to August 3rd, we have the AIG Women's Open in Wales. And on November 20th to the 23rd, we have the CME Group Tour Championship, which is going to be in Naples, Florida, when we look at the LPGA. So congratulations to the men and women that have been able to hoist up their championships and celebrate this season. There's a lot to come later on this year. And of course, Scottie Scheffler has just taken the cake up to this point on the men's side of things, but it's great to see that Rory McIlroy has already done it. And so with an emphasis on Scottie, I want to remind people that Rory finally got the thing that was eluding him, and I believe that Scottie will get his. Rory's was the Masters, Scottie's is the Open, U.S. Open, and we'll see that happen for him, I think, in the not too distant future. With that being said, we will take a step aside
Also,
here.
real quick before we go to break, TaylorMade Golf with 3 out of the 4 major winners this year. Just saying.
Called Life inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. We're happy to be here with you where sports meets life. Great Lakes Honda City, coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Open for sales and service Monday through Saturday. And of course, you can get a sneak peek of all that they have to offer by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com for new and used vehicles that are safe and that I have trusted for over a decade. When it comes to the price, when it comes to the safety, when it comes to the quality of vehicle overall, I have chosen Great Lakes Honda City, your former Honda City of Liverpool. And I cannot say enough about what they've done over the years to make sure that I'm in a vehicle that I'm happy with, that I enjoy coming home to, and that I feel safe with more than anything else with my loved ones, my precious cargo. So thank you to Honda, and thank you to Great Lakes Honda City. With that being said, we do have to say some sad news here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora here this morning, as there has been a passing of a freshman. Offensive lineman for Ole Miss, Corey Adams, has passed away. He was killed in a shooting this past Saturday night, a couple days ago. The shooting happened in Tennessee. The Shelby County Sheriff's Office said Adams, 18 years old, died at the scene in Cordova, Tennessee, just outside of Memphis. 4 other men were shot outside a residence and taken to area hospitals, none of them listed in critical condition. Thank goodness that nobody else has passed on, but one life, of course, as you know, is too many. No arrests have been made as an investigation into the shooting continues. Pardon me, I said defensive lineman. Corey Adams, defensive lineman from New Orleans, Louisiana, enrolled at Ole Miss this past winter. He twice earned All-State honors for Edna Karr High School. Ole Miss said in a statement posted on their social media, quote, "While our program is trying to cope with this tragic loss, our thoughts are with his loved ones during this incredibly difficult time. Out of respect for his family, we will not be commenting further at this time. We ask the Ole Miss community to keep Corey in their thoughts and respect the privacy of everyone involved." End quote. Shelby County Sheriff's deputies responded to the scene this past Saturday night, July 19th, stopped a car in an intersection near where the shooting occurred. They found Adams inside and provided life-saving measures until the arrival of Shelby County fire personnel, who pronounced that he had passed. So our prayers go out to Corey Adams' family, to the families of everyone involved. Pray that everyone that was a part of this who has been injured will heal completely and for good. And no matter what, heal through God and handle well whatever comes their way in and out of their control. I hope that those involved in this and responsible for this will turn themselves in. I pray for them and their families as they right themselves with God and right themselves with what they have done. And so more than anything else, right now, I pray for the soul of Corey Adams, and I pray for all of his loved ones, and I pray for the perpetrator and their loved ones that they stop and that they turn themselves in, and that everyone else who's been affected by this in any way, shape, or form, including others that have been shot, and their loved ones will heal and handle well whatever comes their way. So, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, we say that prayer in Jesus' most precious name. Something you don't want to hear, Murph, in any way, shape, or form. Unfortunately, it happens. They were just outside of Memphis. And, you know, there's been some things over the years said about Memphis and their safety out there. So pray for the city. And just for people to understand that violence only begets more violence. Nothing good ever comes from this stuff. And it's never worth it. So for whatever reason this happened, I pray that things are squashed, figured out, stopped, and that we realize that every life is precious and there's never a reason to send a soul back to God sooner than they're supposed to go.
Absolutely. And it's a unfortunate thing that happens. And like you said, Memphis is not the world's safest city, to say the least, or at least not the safest city in the U.S. And unfortunately stuff like this does tend to happen in Memphis. So it's got me a little sketched out about going to Chicago next week because Chicago is worse. But if I stay away from people, I think I'm fine. But yeah, it's a horrible thing. It should this type of thing should never happen, and just pray that he's pray for his family, for his soul, and that hopefully something like this doesn't happen anymore. Even though we know it's going to, but we want to see it start to happen less and less and less.
Yeah, yeah, it's sad. So, Corey, God bless you. Watch over your loved ones, and with God, help them wipe their tears off their eyes and help them to smile again, right? May your spirit live on, and may it be so bright that they see it like the sun every day when they wake up and every night, even when it's dark outside. With that being said, I do want to jump to the world of baseball. We are coming off of the All-Star break, and we're coming off of an interesting All-Star situation. The All-Star game ended with what would consider to be penalty kicks in soccer, where you have a swing off. And we got to see that the Kyle Schwarber and the National League, Kyle Schwarber of the Phillies, and the National League able to get a victory in celebration of them winning it. When you watch NHL, and I know the NHL is doing different things now, and they did a little world thing recently here, what I thought was really cool. Instead of having an all-star break that's just all-star players and put together on two teams like we see in America, they decided to have a little mini Olympics. And then in the side of basketball, obviously that has to change because nobody plays defense and it's kind of just boring. And it's really just like a dunk contest in a way,
Kinda.
or a three-point contest. The NFL has turned it into flag football, and flag football, I mean, they've had some fun with that. And obviously it's helped promote flag football and help connect flag football and the Olympics coming up here in America to the sport of football in the NFL. So the NFL has done some things to change. Hockey's done some things to change. And now baseball, having this beautiful, wonderful swing off. How many times does an all-star game ever have a tie? Almost never. And when we see Major League Baseball 6-6, National League and the American League, and that they needed a swing off, I thought this was awesome. I thought it was cool. And it brings you to extra innings, essentially, in an all-star game. And I don't think anybody thinks that an all-star game is ever going to be that highly contested and tied at the end of regulation. So shout out to the American League and the National League for making this fun, for all the pitchers and the hitters and the fielders, for having a good time with this in this game. And the swing-off goes on the side of the National League. And Kyle Schwarber, I know you're not a Philly fan, but shout out to his bat. I don't think he missed one out there. So big ups to the National League for making the penalty kicks of baseball count and win this World Series, win this All-Star game break. We'll see who wins the World Series coming up, but win this All-Star break. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I really thought the swing off was cool. I also think that Pete Alonso got robbed for the All-Star game MVP just because Kyle Schwarber hit 3 home runs in the swing off, but he went 0 for 2 with a walk and a strikeout in the game itself. I don't know how that takes precedent, how the swing off takes precedence over actually going, hitting a home run in the game, in the actual game when there's an actual pitcher throwing to you. But I digress. Yeah, I thought the swing off was really cool. I didn't know about it until about an hour before the game. So seeing that was a possibility and then it actually happening was kind of cool. I don't think it's something that you could ever implement into Major League Baseball, just because I feel like there's certain teams that would be at a very, very big disadvantage. Let's just say you've got the Mets playing the Yankees playing the Rockies, who don't really have any real power hitters. It's a foregone conclusion that the Yankees are winning that. Because you've got Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge who are going to be hitting for the Yankees. I don't even think anybody else needs to hit. Although you could easily put, Ben Rice or Jason Dominguez, Austin Wells, whoever you want to put in that third slot. And the Rockies are basically going to have Ryan McMahon, and that's it. So I don't think it's something you'll ever see in Major League Baseball. Maybe if you get past 12 innings, then you go that route to try to like, speed things up. But I like baseball the way it is. I don't want it to change. I still hate the ghost runner at second rule, but it is what it is. I'm not the commissioner. I don't make the rules, but I still don't like it, but it is what it is. It does make games go faster. I hated the pitch clock. I still don't particularly care for the pitch clock, but I can not argue that it definitely made games quicker. I mean, you're having some games that are finishing in 2 hours and 10 minutes. That never happened before. The fastest games were 2 hours and 45 minutes. So I still think that's good. There's some little things that they need to do, but to improve it, I'm not a huge fan of like the phantom strike or phantom ball call or something like that. But the All-Star game was fun. I think it's the best All-Star game in all of sports. Obviously the Pro Bowl is a joke. The NBA All-Star game is an absolute joke. It's probably worse than the Pro Bowl. I love what the NHL did with the Four Nations face-off. I think that was so much fun. I think maybe you can't really do that in the NFL because there's too many players from America and not too many international players. But the NBA, you could certainly do something like that, right? You can do Team USA, Team Europe, Team Asia. I don't know. You got to find a fourth team somewhere, but
Team Antarctica. Let's go.
I think the NBA should take a page.
Team Antarctica.
Yes.
The Penguins. I love it.
But yeah, I think the NBA can learn something from what the NHL did this year. The NBA All-Star Game, as we said, is an absolute joke. These guys don't play defense. They just walk up the court. They're either chucking up threes, or they're just making, absurd dunks and, highlight reel plays or whatever. And that's, I'm not going to argue with anybody on that. So, I've never liked the NBA All-Star Game. The Pro Bowl, nobody ever watched it. It was good in years past. I mean, there were guys that actually tried. I always loved the play in the one Pro Bowl where Ed Hockley throws a flag and before he announces the penalty, he goes, yes, there are penalties in the Pro Bowl, and then proceeds to call pass interference. But I think Major League Baseball is in a league of their own. It's Major League Baseball, NHL, which I think took a step up with the Four Nations face-off.
Yep.
And then NBA and NFL are way down here. Actually, no, wait. I got a better one. There's baseball. Then there's hockey. Then there's 50 feet of crap. And then there's the NBA and NFL in terms of their All-Star weeks. The dunk contest is stupid now. They bring guys up from the G League, Mac McClung, and nothing against him, but they're bringing guys up from the G League to do the dunk contest, which is stupid. The skills competition in the Pro Bowl is kind of cool. Like, I give them that. But nothing tops the home run derby. I do think, however, that Major League Baseball's All-Star Weekend can be better because nobody ever knows when the celebrity softball game is. It's on after the home run derby, which by the time the home run derby's over, everybody's going to sleep.
Yeah.
And then the Futures game. The Futures game takes place on I think either Friday or Saturday. It's like, why? Like, can we play this game at a time where people will actually watch it? It's like it's during a middle of a game day. Like, I think they need to get, like, instead of having the teams play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the following, like, that at the end of the week, have them play Sunday. You have the Futures game on Monday. You can have do the softball game and the Futures game on Monday. Maybe do, like, the softball game early in the day and then the Futures game at night. You could do the home run derby on Tuesday. And then you have the game on Wednesday. And then teams get the rest of the week off. Yeah, and then they start playing again on Monday.
There's got to be a build-up. And they do it in the...
And then the draft, too. Like, because they put the draft in there, too, and that's got to have its own...
Well, they do it in the NBA.
Because, again, it happens on a Sunday.
They do it in
But
the
it's on
NBA.
Sunday when there's still games being played.
Yeah, like the NBA.
Like it needs to be standalone, nothing else happening.
The NBA will do like their lead-in. They'll do like their celebrity game, and they'll do, they can have different things like the rookie game that they've done in the past, get all the rookies together. That was really cool when they did that back in the day with like Stephon Marbury, Sharif Abdur-Rahim, Allen Iverson.
Freshmen versus sophomores.
So it was just cool. And so, I mean, it's got to be a steady build. And I think so. I mean, if you want to do a celebrity baseball game and then you want to do like a softball thing, I mean, if you want to do something like that.
Well, they have the celebrity softball game. That's basically what it is.
If you want to do
it's
that
never
first,
on at a good time.
So you can do that first. You do your celebrity thing. That typically, this is how it goes. Do the celebrity first, then you do the futures second, then you do the home run derby, then you do the all-star game. And it's a steady build. It's like, okay, here's celebrities where some people watch, not everybody. Okay, maybe I want to see some of the young stars. Okay, I definitely want to see the home run derby. And of course, I'm going to pay attention to the main event, which is the all-star game itself. So, I mean, it's, and then maybe the NBA does do that in a good way.
Draft.
But the NBA
and maybe you do the draft Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to put things at a place. You definitely don't want to put, if you're going to put the home run derby at 8:00, you don't want to put anything after it because that's your prime time event. So to me, it makes sense.
I mean, the celebrity all-star game is played before the home run derby, but it's never aired until directly after the home run derby.
Right, and to me,
and by that point, nobody's awake to watch it.
Celebrity should be. I mean, and like I said, the NBA's done it well. They've done celebrity, they've done the young stars. They've done the dunk contest, 3-point contest, and then they have the game. So there's a way to go about it where you put the celebrities in there first, then you get into the young, then you get into your specialty thing, home run derby, dunk contest, 3-point contest, and then you go into your main event, which is your all-star game or whatever it ends up being for, I love that hockey does the Four Nations face-off. I think that's awesome, and I think that should be implemented all the time. And I think that's how it should work.
I think they need to do it. They got to do it every year.
They should.
I think they said they're not going to, but
they got a lot of things figured out. Like they have that, they have that, they have the Olympics, then they have this other thing that they're working on. So like, there's the World Games and whatnot. So hockey has this like rotation of we can do this little mini thing with the Four Nations face-off. Then we have the Worlds. Then we have the Olympics, so they can actually have a structure where if they're going to do something every 4 years with the Olympics, then they can essentially say, okay, we have the Four Nations face-off, we have the Worlds, do something else in that third year, or do the Worlds again, or do the Four Nations face-off. So you have 1, 2, a third, then the Olympics, or you do 1, 2, repeat 1 or 2, and then do the Olympics again. Because they have all these things that feel Olympic-esque. And I think the best way to do it, especially for Olympic sports, is if you can make something look and feel like the Olympics, that'll get people to watch. Like, are people watching the NHL All-Star Game? No. But are people going to watch the NHL if it's 4 different countries going up against each other? Because that's when America gets involved in swimming. That's when America gets involved in tennis. That's when America gets involved in all of these sports. Because if it's America, like those people that hate watching soccer will watch the World Cup because they want to cheer on their country. And so I think hockey's done it right in making it world related. And as long as hockey does something world related, I think that there's other people, other leagues that should follow suit in some way, shape, or form. The NBA still got to figure out their kinks and what they're going to do because the All-Star game is just pointless. But
awful.
There's been some really cool things with celebrity games before. They've done like the 5-point baskets. They've done the baskets that are really high up. So there's the 10-foot
they did the what?
Normal
what
basket.
Was it the 4-point in the WNBA All-Star game the other day?
Well, they used to have like the 3-point basket, and then you have to go high. And you'd have to like shoot up. So instead of 10 feet, you'd have to shoot up to like 20 feet or 15 feet and just send this ball up in the air. So you could take a shot in a normal game, but you're like shooting up and trying to hit this thing. It's almost like playing skee ball in a way, but with basketball. So that was cool. It was interesting. It was different. I think they need to implement some things though for that. Even if they took that from the celebrity game and put it in to the actual NBA All-Star game with the players. Now, speaking of the Mets and Pete Alonso that you brought up before, Pete Alonso did not start over the weekend, but he was able to keep his streak alive. He has a New York Mets franchise record of 354 games that he has played consecutively. He did not start yesterday on Sunday against the visiting Cincinnati Reds due to a right hand contusion. However, he did enter the game in the 7th inning as a defensive replacement for Mark Vientos. So that means that he has now kept his streak alive of 354 games. He's played in all 100 games this season, and that streak of 354 consecutive dates back to June 18th of 2023, which is pretty cool here because we just passed July 18th. So a shout out to him for that. Mets manager Carlos Mendoza said Alonso got x-rays Saturday after feeling discomfort in the, quote, base of the thumb area. Went on to say he felt it the first couple of at-bats Saturday. He's day-to-day, he's getting treatment, and he says he's a lot better this morning, speaking on Sunday, end quote. Entering Sunday, the 5-time All-Star has been mired in a 2-for-30 stretch with 8 strikeouts over 7 games. Pete Alonso, who is 30 years old, is batting .276 with 21 home runs, 77 RBIs here in 2025. And from here, the streak stays alive, and hopefully he feels better soon. 2-time home run derby winner, Alonso is hitting .252 with 247 home runs and 663 RBIs in 945 career games with the New York Metropolitans. The streak is alive, and it is almost to what would be the equivalent of an entire year on the field. He is 11 away from 365. So even though he didn't start, and even though he's not 100%, I pray Pete Alonso gets healthy and everybody else does that needs it. And I'm also happy that he came in the 7th so that he did not lose his streak. Trevor Lawrence has had a streak in the past. Peyton Manning's had a streak. There's guys that you love seeing out there and girls that you love seeing out there. Caitlin Clark, I don't think that girl's been off the court in a long, long time. So I'm happy for Pete Alonso that he kept the streak alive. It is 354 coming into today on Monday.
Yeah, and Pete's the type of guy that, you got to, claw him out of the, drag him off the field in order for him to not play. And, he's obviously gets to come in the 7th inning. Just to kind of talk about the team in general, I am not happy with the way they played against Cincinnati this week. Especially on Friday, Sean Manaea goes 4 innings, and then you bring in this random guy off the street in Carrillo who has pitched in a handful of games and has been terrible when your entire bullpen has been rested for 5 days. Why is Ryan Stanek not coming into the game? Why is Reed Garrett not coming into the game? Brazaban, Brooks Raley, who was fresh back off the IL after Tommy John. That's his perfect spot to put him in the game. Yet this Carrillo dude comes in, gives up 4 home runs, and all of a sudden they went from being up 2-0 to down 6-2 or 5-2, and that was that. And then they basically didn't try. Saturday was the same thing. Peterson pitched well yesterday. I'm not going to, lose sleep over that one, but it's what are we doing? It's getting so hard to defend Carlos Mendoza's bullpen management because it has been terrible. Now, granted, if he would have put in Reed Garrett in that situation or Brazaban or whoever that you've been relying on this year and they didn't pitch well and they got blown up, okay, you're not going to get on him for that. He put in his best guy. He did what he needed to do. But he puts in a bum off the street who just got DFA'd the next day. What are we doing? Seriously. And Jerry, I know you're listening, so basically you can feel free to chime in here, but your Phillies have helped us out and haven't really taken a division lead. I think the Phillies lost their first 2 games against the Angels as well. So that being said, I believe they were only half a game out. I'm sorry, that's not true. They split those first 2 games. But even still, like this is getting ridiculous. But for Pete, happy for him. He's the guy. He just does not, doesn't really miss any time, and when he does, it's minimal.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those things where you love him and you hope that nothing ever happens to him, but he's nowhere close to Cal Ripken's streak, and nobody will ever come close to Cal Ripken's streak. Because 2,600 games. Let me just go and do a little quick math here. So 2,630, 2,632 or 31, I believe, divided by 162 games is 16 full seasons. More than 16 full seasons. Folks, that means that somebody in that situation would have to start at probably like age 22 and never miss a game until they're 38 years old. That is absurd to think the Iron Horse did that. The Iron Horse was Lou Gehrig, who also had a very impressive streak that Cal Ripken, or the Iron Man, went out and broke. So Pete Alonso has been a durable guy. He's been the best player on the team for a few years, and now he doesn't have to be anymore with Soto and Lindor on the team. So we'll see what happens, but good for Pete getting to keep that streak alive.
There is a good thing that the Mets have done here. They have inducted David Wright into their team Hall of Fame, and they have officially retired number 5. The New York Mets inducting David Wright in on Saturday, nearly 21 years after his major league debut. He said, quote, "I went straight from the airport to the ballpark, and I couldn't wait to see what number I was going to be. That spring, I was 72, and I would have been perfectly happy with 72. But later on, I found out that Charlie Samuels, the old equipment guy, gave me 5 because of Brooks Robinson and George Brett," end quote. It's also important to know that he was given 72, and 7 minus 2 is 5. So he does have 5 that is retired now. Debuted against the Montreal Expos, which are now your Washington Nationals, on July 21st, 2004. Appeared to be on track to join Robinson and Brett as a Hall of Fame third baseman when he hit .301 with 222 homers, 876 RBIs, and 888 OPS through his first 10 seasons. But Wright played just 211 more games while dealing with chronic back, shoulder, and neck injuries, as well as a diagnosis of spinal stenosis. He went more than 2 years between big league appearances before concluding his career in September of 2018. He said, quote, "There was nothing that I could do to do the thing anymore. It took a while for my brain and my heart to kind of match up with that. But I think that very, very few athletes get the ending that they want, that storybook ending. I certainly wouldn't call mine a storybook ending, but it's better than 99% of what athletes get, and I'll forever be thankful for getting that opportunity," end quote. Wright, the Mets' most recent captain and the only player in team history to have his number retired after spending his entire career with the Mets, expressed his gratitude throughout a speech that capped a half-hour ceremony that was emceed by broadcaster Howie Rose. Wright, emerging from the third base side of Citi Field, walked to a gold-plated third base, stood atop the bag, and blew kisses to a sellout crowd in Citi Field. In an appropriate Mets touch, a plane taking off from nearby LaGuardia ascended into view moments after his number 5 was unveiled high above the left field seats. The now 42-year-old married father of 3, we look back at his career, and this is what was said by Mr. Wright. Quote, "If you would have told a young David Wright to close his eyes and imagine this day, I would have said you're crazy. No way. Impossible. And then I would have went out in my backyard in Virginia and hit off a homemade tee with balls that were falling apart at the seams until it got dark outside to prove you right. Thank you so much for allowing me to live out my dream in front of you each night. I love you so much. Let's go, Mets," end quote. Now keep in mind, even though he's a Virginia native, he grew up rooting for the Mets while attending AAA games in Tidewater, Now you can see those AAA games in Syracuse, New York. Wright is the 35th member of the New York Mets Hall of Fame and the 11th individual to have his number retired, joining managers Casey Stengel and Gil Hodges, as well as Tom Seaver, Mike Piazza, Jerry Koosman, Keith Hernandez, Willie Mays, Darryl Strawberry, and Dwight Gooden, as well as Jackie Robinson, whose number 42 is retired throughout Major League Baseball. So with Wright being the 35th member in the New York Mets Hall of Fame, he is still only 11th all-time to have his physical number retired. No one will ever wear number 5 in orange and blue again for the Mets. Your thoughts, Murph?
This was a day that we all knew was coming from the day David Wright retired. I mean, I was in the ballpark that night. We all booed Peter O'Brien at first base when he caught the pop-up, and David Wright's second at bat, and what ended up being the final at bat of his major league career. But yeah, I mean, being in the ballpark that night and then being able to watch this, and I wouldn't have made it to the ballpark in time to see it yesterday. My friend Chris went to the game or on Saturday, and I wish I could have gone. I wouldn't have made it with driving into the city at that time, so I wouldn't have gotten there in time, so I would have missed it anyway. But I'm glad I got to come home and watch it on TV and really get to see one of my heroes from my childhood, get the day he so deserved, and being able to see his former teammates that were there that were that loved him so much, with guys like Cliff Floyd and Joe McEwing and Jose Reyes and guys like that. He and Jose Reyes were like brothers. So like getting to see him and Jose Reyes together again, and embracing as David walked onto the field and also walked off of the field after the ceremony was over. There's nobody more deserving. There's nobody in my eyes that meant more to the franchise, and that even includes Mike Piazza. It really does. There was not a single player, other than maybe Tom Seaver, in the entire history of the franchise, that meant more to this team than David Wright. And David Wright, obviously, he said it in his speech, he never got to accomplish his goal and bring a World Series to Queens. But we will never hold that against him. It was not his fault. Believe me, had he been fully healthy, I think 2016 that it could have happened. But you never know. Obviously, with the spinal stenosis at the end of 2015, got to have his moment in the World Series, and what I would arguably call Joe Buck's greatest call ever, when he called David Wright's World Series home run. If you haven't heard it, go find it in the archives. It was an unbelievable call. I still lose sleep at night sometimes because what happened in that series and what could have been. But, I'm hoping that they get there again eventually. And obviously David Wright won't be a part of it, but we'll be thinking of him when we do finally bring a World Series to Queens, whenever that may be. But the impact that he had on me, on a generation of Mets fans, mostly around my age, maybe a little bit younger and a little bit older, but from like age 22 to 35, we were all David Wright fans as kids or as young adults, and got to watch him growing up and got to watch him grow up and turn into one of the best third basemen in all of baseball. And, he would have been a Hall of Famer had his body not broken down. So like I look at David Wright and I look at other guys that are in the Hall of Fame, and I see third base being so underrepresented in the Hall of Fame. And can I sit here and tell you that I think David Wright's a Hall of Famer? Absolutely not. He is in the Hall of Very Good. However, there are players in the Hall of Fame that I would argue have worse numbers than David Wright. Like, I would argue David Wright's got better numbers than some Hall of Famers. There's also guys that aren't in the Hall of Fame that were better than David Wright. That should be. I believe Keith Hernandez, and I've been pounding this drum for years that Keith Hernandez should be in the Hall of Fame. The greatest defensive first baseman in history, 10 Gold Gloves, and has won an MVP and is not a Hall of Famer. I don't understand that. But David Wright's hung around on the Hall of Fame ballot. I mean, I was a little surprised and also excited that he stayed on there, and maybe the writers give him a look in a few years. I don't think he's ever going to get in. I really don't. I would be ecstatic if he does. If they realize that, hey, this guy's peak was so good. Yes, he didn't have the longevity, but his peak was so good that it was on a Hall of Fame track before his body let him down. Who knows? But I'm glad David finally got his day. He absolutely deserved it. I know he'll never admit it, but we've always loved him, and he'll always have a special place in my heart. I'd love to get a signed jersey at some point. I've got my Piazza signed jersey now. I'd love to get a David Wright signed jersey at some point. But yeah, congratulations to David. Nobody will ever wear number 5 in a Mets uniform again. Well deserved. And thank you, Captain, for all the memories over about a 15-year career and basically making my childhood as a Mets fan that much better because you were a part of it.
Awesome words from Murph for someone who loves and appreciates Mr. Wright. No one will ever wear number 5 again for the New York Mets. And David Wright, congratulations on seeing this moment and being alive to embrace and celebrate it. God bless to you and your family. And to all the Mets that are there in the Hall of Fame. Now, before we take our second
There's not many of them.
I know. Before our second
in the Baseball Hall of Fame, there's not many.
Yeah. Before we take our next step aside here, do want to let you all know, Murph mentioned the Major League Baseball ghost rule. For those of you that don't know, just to let you know, Major League Baseball's extra inning tiebreaker rule, a runner is automatically placed at second base to begin each extra inning. It is a rule that was tested and then it was made permanent back in 2023. Taking a look at this, Major League Baseball's Joint Competition Committee voted unanimously to make the rule permanent for the regular season and regular season only. Postseason games continue to feature regular play in extra innings, meaning nobody's on base. MLB first used the extra inning tiebreaker rule during the 60-game pandemic season in 2020 as a way to shorten games and reduce injury risk after the unusual spring training shutdown and midsummer build-up period for pitchers. The rule remained on a temporary basis in 21 and 22 and was made permanent in 2023. Approximately 10% of regular season games go to extra innings historically. And then we look at the fact of how many games have done that. But like they said, 10% of regular season games at the time that they made this a permanent rule, looking back to 2022, 223 of 2,430 regular season games went to extra innings, or 9.2%. With the extra inning tiebreaker rule, only 7 games went as long as 13 innings the last 3 seasons. Looking at that time period, there were 37 13-inning games in 2019 alone, the last year with quote-unquote normal extra inning rules. So that second baseman, that ghost rule, happens only in extra innings in the regular season. And for each extra inning, there is a runner put at second base to try and shorten the games and help with pitcher fatigue. And, of course, to shorten the game itself for all the players that are playing in it. And that does not happen in the postseason because obviously that would bring an unfair advantage, which it already does in the regular season. But apparently they don't care over a span of 162
Yeah, I mean,
games.
if the home team strands the runner at second, all you got to do is bunt him over to third base, and then you got 2 chances to drive him in.
Yeah, so it does create an unfair competitive advantage. And, of course, both teams get it. But in a situation where you are the home team in the extra inning, you do have the opportunity to finish the inning, and you already have somebody on second base, just like someone will in the first inning or in the top half of the extra inning. But if you are the home team, you always have a response and it puts you in good footing, obviously. Call Life. Appreciate you being here Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Murph and I starting off your week. It is ACC kickoff week and AAC kickoff week. So the rest of the week, you will hear and see me from the ACC kickoff in Charlotte, North Carolina. And for the first time ever, the AAC kickoff is in Charlotte, North Carolina. Or as I like to say, God gave me the assist of a lifetime. So thank you that I don't have to get on a flight this time around. Normally I'm going from Rhode Island to North Carolina to Rhode Island, or going from North Carolina to Texas, or Texas to North Carolina. This year, I'm just going to Charlotte, and I get to spend some time out there. So can't wait to do that. Happy to do it. And we have so many great specials coming up. Tom Wistersell, Big Sky Commissioner. And you will also hear from Brennan Armstrong, who I met at ACC kickoff when he was with Virginia and NC State as their quarterback. You'll hear from Rajay Harris, who was a running back for East Carolina last season when him and I were sitting down in Texas. Now Rajay is in the NFL, so you'll see my special with Rajay Harris. And, of course, you'll see Chris Heidel and Adam Lemarice of Herb FM Sports Radio kicking off the ACC for this wonderful week. So a lot of great stuff coming up here this week, including all my coverage with the ACC and the AAC. With that being said, Murph and I got some more things to talk about, and then some sports card show and tell. Couple stories here coming out of the NFL. One of them being that somebody's doing some scummy things out there. Let's talk about it. A New York City pawn shop owner pleaded guilty to buying and selling luxury items stolen by a national burglary crew whose victims include Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow. This is according to the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Eastern District of New York. And Burrow was playing a road game in December against the Cowboys when items were stolen from his home. An FBI complaint unsealed in February identified Burrow only as quote-unquote athlete number 5, listed, which is ironic because we just talked about number 5 being retired, and now Joe Burrow was listed as athlete number 5. Listed the total value of items stolen, 300,000 spankers there. The pattern of athletes' homes burglarized while they were publicly scheduled elsewhere includes Kansas City Chiefs star Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce, as well as NBA star Luka Doncic of the Lakers and Mike Conley of the Minnesota Timberwolves. I thought my ex-wife was the only person that checked your social media to find out when you're not in town. The pawn shop owner, I'm going to try to say this gentleman's name, Dmitry Nizinski, 43 of North Bergen, New Jersey, pled guilty this past Friday, to one count of conspiracy to receive stolen property in a Brooklyn federal court. He admitted knowingly purchasing stolen property, including high-end watches, jewelry, and handbags. I'm sitting here going, a pawn shop owner taking stolen things? No. But now Nizinski, whose sentencing date has not been determined, faces a maximum of 5 years in prison and restitution of approximately $2.5 million and forfeiture of more than $2.5 million. So restitution of $2.5 million, forfeiture of $2.5 million. In addition, because he is from the country of Georgia, while legally residing in the United States, Nizinski faces federal charges and the possibility of deportation. District Judge William F. Kuntz said, Kuntz, for those of you that are listening to the show. Quote, this defendant ran, I'm just reading what I'm seeing, this defendant ran a black market pipeline buying stolen luxury goods. Can't get mad if I'm reading it. Quote, this defendant ran a black market pipeline buying stolen luxury goods from organized theft crews that targeted homes and businesses. This was said by New York City Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch in a statement on Friday. Quote, it was a deliberate operation that helped professional burglars prey on innocent people, end quote. Co-defendant Juan Villar, 48, who co-managed the pawn shop.
You what?
It's because of what I just read.
Dude, you're going to get demonetized today.
That's funny.
Oh my God, you're going to get demonetized today, man.
Sometimes a slip of the word is just so funny. Co-defendant, this is what happens when you're trying to read the story.
It happens.
Co-defendant Juan Villar, 48, who co-managed the pawn shop, pled guilty in June to the same charge. The U.S. Attorney's Office said on Friday. Porn's not a swear word. The two men had worked together since 2020, according to the release.
Debatable.
As it's not. As quote-unquote fences to receive and buy stolen goods from outside of New York. Villar of Queens also is awaiting sentencing. FBI Assistant Director in Charge Christopher Raya said in a statement, quote, "For more than 5 years, Dmitry Nazinski established a demand for stolen merchandise, which allowed South American theft groups to profit from repeated burglaries. His purchases perpetuated a ripple of criminality targeting residents and business across the country." End quote. So, not fun, doesn't look good, and this is a horrible thing. Burrow said, quote, "I just get very uncomfortable. My life is very public. That comes with the job, but there's certain parts of your life that are yours. Your house is one of those." End quote. Now, this is something that I'm reading coming off of something that I've talked about within the last couple of weeks, which is the fact that when people are away from home, we just heard about it with baseball's All-Star game, right? When you're Ketel Marte, when you're away from your residence and him being away from his in Arizona, people know when these professional athletes are on the road because they have public schedules. And so there has been this thievery is wrong in any stretch of the imagination. And they've obviously utilized the fact that these stars lead very public lives. These professional athletes and entertainers have very public lives. So their schedule is essentially on their sleeve and accessible to anybody. And people have been taking advantage of this. And I'm not saying that every pawn shop is not a credible place. I was making a joke when I said what I said. But
Oh, that was supposed to be a joke?
Oh,
I thought that was an accident.
No, there was an accident. No, there was a slip. But the pawn shop, when I said pawn shops taking stealing merchandise, you don't say. I mean, that's something that you think of, unfortunately, when you think of pawn shops. But there's some upstanding places. I'm not going to say that there's not, because I will never group everybody into one single thing. I'm not for putting people in groups, because Lord knows I do not like it, and I would not do to someone that I do not like myself. All jokes aside, this is a terrible thing being done to people, and what can they possibly do, Murph? Everyone knows their schedule. They're always going to know their schedule when it comes to playing games. So it's an unfortunate part of the job. And I mean, I'm sure that these professional athletes and entertainers already have some type of security system, but this is horrible, and it's sad, and it's ridiculous. And I guess some people think, hey, it's not a big deal because I'm stealing from rich people, but theft is theft and wrong is wrong, and we have to adhere to rules in this world, because if we don't have rules, we don't have society, and if we don't have society, we have anarchy, and if we have anarchy, we have the beginning of the end. So little things like this, to some people, oh, it's just $300,000, who cares, it's Joe Burrow. Well, let me just tell you something, folks. If you allow the breaking of rules,
it's a lot of money,
right? If you allow the breaking of rules and you take this stuff and you erode society away, then you live in lawlessness. And if you live in lawlessness, well, you can watch every TV show and movie that's made about lawlessness. None of them are good. So with that being said, I'm happy that this person was apprehended, or people were apprehended, and hopefully this will stop, and
hopefully he gets deported,
and people will stop treating these athletes as easy prey and easy targets. So sad for you all, and hope that things get better soon. Remember, as we remember the life of Sean Taylor, how I believe he was being burglarized when he was at home, and so he was killed.
Yep.
And so that's also something to think about in the horribleness of things that are done here in this world. Before we get into our cards, I do want to make one note. Speaking of the Bengals, Cincinnati Bengals rookie Shemar Stewart has not reported. Defensive end Shemar Stewart did not report to training camp with the rest of the team rookies this past Saturday. He is the lone first-round pick in this year's draft class of all of the NFL franchises that had a first-round pick to not sign his rookie deal. 17th overall pick out of Texas A&M did not participate in any off-season workouts because of a contract dispute over language that could potentially void the guaranteed money in his deal. Before Saturday, Stewart and linebacker Demetrius Knight, the team's second-round pick, were the only members of Cincinnati's six-person class who had not inked their deals. Knight made his deal official on Saturday afternoon ahead of the start of training camp. The difference in the details is notable and shows the gap in Stewart's negotiation. According to a source familiar with the negotiations, and I am strictly just stating what I am seeing here, it is not my source, so I cannot vouch for it. I'm just telling you what is being put out there. I don't like anonymous sources. If they're not my source, anytime you see me say a source of mine and people get mad that I don't tell you my source, there's no way that you can have sources if you name them. I don't think people fully understand that. So I cannot name my source. You can either have one or the other. You can have all of this information and leave them anonymous, or I can tell you who they are and you can never have anything for the rest of your life from that source. So, according to a source that is not one of my sources, I'm just looking at the story, the percentage of Knight's signing bonus that was paid up front was not offered to Stewart. Knight's signing bonus is projected at $3.2 million, and Stewart is projected to receive a signing bonus of $10.4 million. Earlier in the week, Texas A&M coach Mike Elko, who I interviewed when he became a head coach for the first time when he was at Duke, left Texas A&M as the D coordinator, where he was working under Jimbo Fisher, came to Duke for 2 years, did well at Duke, and then went back to Texas A&M when they let go of Jimbo, his former boss, and took over Texas A&M. He said on SportsCenter that Stewart has no intentions of returning to college to play for the Aggies. Under the current collective bargaining agreement between the NFL Players Association and the NFL, the team that drafted a player retains their rights through the following year's draft. Since Stewart declared for the draft after his junior year, he would need to likely sue the NCAA in order to gain his final year of eligibility. Cincinnati's veterans are set to report on Tuesday, which is tomorrow, one day before the team begins training camp in Cincinnati. So, Shemar Stewart has not signed his deal. He's the only first rounder not to do it. Murph, can they get this thing done? I mean, I will not name the company that I dealt with, but I dealt with a company that had some really weird language in their contract, and I fought weeks for it, and I was getting kind of pushed to like stop bothering people, but I was not signing a contract with the verbiage that was in there. So I, in no way, shape, or form, am going to knock somebody for reading a contract and saying, I don't like that, let's figure that out. But I mean, can we be adults here and figure this thing out for their 17th overall pick, hopefully sometime soon?
This is all on the Bengals. This has nothing to do with Shemar Stewart. This is all on Cincinnati. And this is something different that they're doing this year, and it's the reason why their second-round pick went unsigned for as long as he did. So, realistically, from what I can tell, I don't think there's any resolution to this in sight.
Yeah.
I would not be shocked if Shemar Stewart does not play this year, and then he re-enters the draft next year. I don't know if he can. Is he allowed to re-enter the draft, or would he have to basically be a quote-unquote undrafted free agent?
So, no, Shemar, under the rules, from everything that I understood, he can re-enter the draft. So he can, if he sits out, I think it's, if he hasn't signed anything by November of this year, then he can become eligible for the draft, and everyone can draft him except for the Cincinnati Bengals for this upcoming. So he would be in the 2026 NFL draft, essentially.
Okay. I mean, that would be unprecedented. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't blame him. Stick to your guns, kid. This is ridiculous language that they're trying to add into the contract. I wouldn't want to do it either.
Yeah, so if he doesn't play this season, I'm just taking a quick note here. If he doesn't play this season, then he would be able to be in the 2026 NFL draft. So apparently, according to Mike Elko, the head coach of Texas A&M, he's not coming back to college at Texas A&M. He, right now, is not a Cincinnati Bengal, but he can re-enter the draft. And so if he doesn't sign with the Bengals, I said by November, that is true. If he doesn't sign by November 11th and sits out the entire 2025 season, then he will just have his name put back in for the 2026 draft. And then he would just have to prove to NFL teams, I would imagine through workouts and training, that he's ready to go since he'll be out of football for a year.
I mean, to be honest, if it was up to me, I would just try to go back to college. Because if this is that big of a deal, and I don't think the NCAA would give him such a hard time, it's not like he actually went and played a professional game. He never went to rookie minicamp.
Right.
He never went to training camp. He never participated in OTAs.
Well, think
it's not
about
like he was actually ever on the field with the Bengals.
Yeah. Think about what would make him a professional, though, right? It's typically when you hire an agent. But now that you don't have agents, you have advisors, which are agents just not being called agents, essentially, in college sports. With pay for play, NIL, and the fact that you can have advisors, that can't really count against him anymore either. So even though he hasn't played it down in the NFL, still can't be knocked for making any money and can't be knocked for having any agent or advisement because, I mean, there's still agent-ish work going on from what I understand in collegiate athletics. So really there's nothing that would stand against him except for the NCAA. And with all due respect, I mean, the guy doesn't need to be sitting out for a year. And if he can go one more year in college, then let him go one more year in college. But this should show something to Cincinnati. I mean, this man is stuck to his guns. I have been in a situation where I was told to sign a contract. I was told that nobody ever complains about this portion of the contract. I was told don't be difficult. And then there was the notion of, well, if you piss these people off, they're not going to sign you next year. And I said, I don't care. I refused. Being the son of a lawyer, there's certain things that you have to pay attention to in contracts, and you have to read through every single piece of it. People hand me stuff all the time, and they go, sign right, doctor's office, sign right here. And then they stand over you and they go, oh, well, this is just what it's saying. Yeah, okay, fine. I'm going to read it for 5 minutes. I don't care what you tell me it's saying, and yeah, just sign it. People have become so used to handing you a sheet of paper with very small print and saying, sign it, and then giving you some type of bothersome look if you don't sign it right away. I tell people all the time, I am the son of a lawyer. I will read this and I will get back to you. And if you don't like, think about that. When I was signing with this company, it was like the feeling of you're pissing them off, you're bothering them, you're wasting their time, you're holding them up. You're starting off with a bad first impression to this company. And all of that is being put in my realm because I'm doing what? Reading. And Shemar Stewart, reading. Any company that tries to strong arm you into signing a contract and you decide that you don't want to sign it until something changes, stick to your guns, because no one is going to try and strong arm you and push you to feel bad if you don't sign the contract unless they're trying to hide something or they know that something's off. I don't think anybody is going to force you into a contract. I mean, like, I truly honestly felt, and I said to my parents when I got off the phone with this guy, I said they're never going to hire me for a year or two because I've asked them to work on this contract for me. But I will not sign the contract until they do it. So, Shemar, I understand this from my point of view, and I know we're not signing the same thing, but from my point of view, because of where you're at and because of what I understand of the contracts that I've had and the experiences that I've had, I don't knock you, and I would never, ever let somebody push me into signing something that I don't agree with. Now, some have speculated about him returning and then re-entering the draft, but NCAA rules prevents a drafted player from returning to college, so they would have to essentially change that rule. Now, the NCAA has broken how many of their own rules, right? They won't let this guy transfer to be closer to his family because his mom's sick, but they let this guy transfer because he doesn't want to compete for a starting quarterback job. So, I mean, there's a lot of stupid things that have happened. The NCAA, as I said 7 years ago, would either fail to exist or look very different than it did back then because they were treating everyone differently for the same rules. You break this rule, no punishment. You break this rule, this punishment. You break the same rule, but you're a different school, tougher punishment, less punishment. So the NCAA, you've broken all of your other rules. You've said we would always have this amateur model, right? We would never have pay for play. So let this kid come back and let him play. However, if you do, you open Pandora's box, which you already did with NIL and you already did with the transfer portal free agency. So unless you start putting parameters around things, you're going to have issues. But in this case, a very special case, an NCAA waiver, not a rule change, but a waiver should be granted if Shemar Stewart wants it, because he doesn't want to sign this contract. He's being held up with Cincinnati, and he shouldn't have to lose a year of football because he doesn't like the verbiage of the contract. And I mean, And if that starts a precedent in the
Agreed.
NFL, then it starts a precedent in the NFL. Because again, as a man who writes contracts, who is the son of a lawyer, who has been reading through and writing legal documentation for my business for over a decade, it matters what you write and it matters what you sign. So I don't care if this holds up every first round draft pick for the rest of the history of the NFL, because you have to understand. Some of these guys are going to read it and some of these guys aren't. Some of these guys are going to go, holy crap, I'm making $12 million just by signing this sheet of paper. I haven't had $12 in my name. Sign, gone. And other guys like Shemar Stewart are reading through it. And you should read through your contract. And I will tell you this wholeheartedly, folks. I signed a contract, had two things taken out of it. The next year that the contract was supposed to be renewed, they put the two clauses back in, and I had to catch them. So it is very important what you sign. Do not sign it if it doesn't feel right in your gut. Your gut's never going to choose wrong for you. And to the NFL, get used to it. Guys should be reading their contracts. I mean, if you got nothing to hide, you got nothing to worry about. And that's how I feel about this. Contracts should never be signed unless you fully understand it. And if you do not understand, I mean, I've had somebody tell me, sue me. Guy owed me $10,800. He said, sue me. Everybody else has. That was his remedy to signing his contract. Sue me and get in line because everybody's suing me. That's how that guy looked at his business. God bless him. I hope he's changed his mind on that. But there are people that do not understand what they're signing and they do not care what they're signing. And to Shemar's credit, hey, if you care about every word in this contract, God bless you, because everyone should. I don't know anybody on this planet that should ever sign a contract if they don't agree with, if you agree with 115 words and not 3 of them, 150,000 words and not 10 of them. Fix those and get it right, because contracts are important and people need to live by them. And when, I mean, you used to shake hands and that was enough. When you put your name on a dotted line, think about how crude of a business person you have to be and how subhuman you have to be to tell someone to sue you because they know that they breached their contract. So Shemar, do what you got to do, man. And NCAA, you have let all your rules go to the wayside and you have let other things go by. So Lord knows letting this man play football is not going to be the worst thing you ever let happen.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. Stick to your guns, dude. Don't sign this contract if they're going to do that. This is a shady business move by the Cincinnati Bengals. They need defensive help. They drafted somebody to be defensive help. They are now screwing over this draft pick. And if he doesn't sign, the Bengals get no compensation if he doesn't sign.
Yeah, they don't get anything.
They get nothing. It's not like baseball where you get the next spot down in the next year's draft. The year the Astros took Brady Aiken number 1 overall and didn't sign him, they got the number 2 pick back in 2015.
Yeah.
Which turned into Alex Bregman. Worked out in their favor. But the Bengals don't get that. If they did, then they wouldn't care. But they get no compensation. They will have just completely wasted a first-round pick and got nothing for it. Literally nothing. And they wouldn't even be allowed to draft the kid next year.
Yeah.
Shame on you, Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah. So the dispute is still here. And the disagreement over the language that would trigger the voiding of his salary guarantees with a breach or default by him. The Bengals want to tighten up the language to remove any ambiguity over whether all remaining guarantees in the contract void with a default. Stewart's camp prefers the language the Bengals used with their 2024 first-round pick, Amarius Mims, who was selected 1 spot later than Stewart at 18th overall. Disputes over this type of language with rookie contracts are rare. The last one occurred in 2018 with linebacker Raquan Smith, the 8th overall pick. Smith missed the first 2 weeks of training camp because he and his agents objected to the language where the Chicago Bears had the right to void his guarantees for an ejection or suspension from a game for violating NFL playing rules. A compromise was reached on the number of games in a suspension necessary to trigger voiding. So, I mean, and again, if you're drafting somebody that you're this worried about, that you're creating a special clause for, maybe you shouldn't have drafted him. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. Now, contract guarantees typically void for an exhaustive list of defaults by a player. The default language in Mim's contract that controls the voiding of his guarantees read as follows, quote, in the event player fails or refuses to report to club, fails or refuses to practice or play with club other than for an NFL football-related injury sustained while performing his services under this contract, but specifically including but not limited to failure to perform due to incarceration, unless such incarceration is less than 72 hours and player does not miss a game, death, injury incurred as a result of engaging in a non-football related activity, or if player leaves club without its consent, or if player retires, or if player is suspended by NFL or club for conduct detrimental other than a suspension of no more than 3 games for violating the NFL player playing rules, or if player is suspended for violating the NFL personal conduct policy, or if player is suspended for violating the NFL policy and performance enhancing substances, or if player is suspended for violating the NFL policy and program for substance of abuse or the NFL gambling policy, or if player makes any public comment, including but not limited to the newspaper, magazines, television, radio, social media, or internet that breaches players' obligation of loyalty to the club and or undermines the public's respect for the club, club coaches, or club management, provided that upon the first such comment, players shall receive a written warning, and upon the second and any other subsequent comment, players should be in default of this guarantee, or if player otherwise materially breaches any provision of this contract, then player shall be in default. If player is in default, this guarantee shall immediately be deemed null and void from the beginning and in its entirety, regardless of whether or not the guarantee had otherwise been earned according to the terms at the time of player's default. In the event of such default, player will be entitled to earn the remaining paragraph 5 salary on a non-guaranteed basis, subject to any applicable fines and or forfeitures, end quote. This language appears with each salary component that is guaranteed in contracts. In Stewart's case, that would be with his 2025 through 28 base salary, as well as 2026 through 2028 third day of training camp roster bonuses for a total of 7 different occasions. Obviously, training camp roster bonus is referenced in the default language instead of paragraph 5 salary when applicable. There isn't standard voiding languages in the NFL. The triggers vary depending on team convention and the attention an agent pays to the language. For example, fines for conduct detrimental or associated with the substance abuse program void guarantees in Dallas Cowboys rookie contracts dating back to Byron Jones in 2015. The verbiage about public comments usually isn't in the default language with Atlanta Falcons contract. So, and that's something big too. So, I mean, if he does anything or says anything that would make his team look bad, that can be in default of this. They said if he does anything out in the public, social media, radio, internet, if he does anything to make the public opinion of the club affected, that this could affect things. So, I mean, what if something happens and he just speaks his mind? What if his grandfather passes away and the team doesn't allow him to go to his grandfather's funeral and he says, you know, this place is a blank show and I can't believe they did this to me and my family? Does that void his contract because he's mad about not being able to go to his grandfather's funeral? I mean, again, I understand a team wanting to protect themselves because I, as a business owner, seek to protect myself. So reading through some of that, I don't have a problem with. But there's basically that contract is written to do everything in its power to take care of Cincinnati and almost nothing to take care of Shemar Stewart. And contracts,
no, not at all.
Contracts that are written by, I mean, you know, and I'll read through contracts. I've seen contracts before. You look through it and you say, well, I mean, there's contracts that say we can fire you for any reason. We can literally wake up in the morning and fire you. You could do nothing wrong. You could breach nothing in this contract. What is the point of having a contract of things that you can't breach like they just had when you can just be fired? And I mean, there was contract I've seen before where I had them take that out. It said you can be released from this contract if any of these happen. And there was all this like specific stuff. And the first one on there was, if we just decide, if we just think. And that should never be in a contract that you could just wake up in the morning and go, hey, you know what? I'm not going to pay you anymore. I mean, that puts you on the hook, and that's scary. So not saying that's the case with Shemar, but again, make sure that you're signing contracts, folks, in any walk of life that you agree with and that you understand. If you don't understand, find someone who does to help you understand it before you sign it. Make sure you know what you are doing and make sure you're clear on that. Because I've had businesses say there's a clause in a contract that'll say, like, if you don't pay, we have the right to go after you legally. And a business will turn around and go, I don't like that. And I would say, well, are you planning on not paying? Because that's a clause that will never kick in unless you decide to default. So, I mean, I would be very leery of a business going, hey, I don't want in my contract, if I stop paying you, that you can come after me legally, because that should be the normal course of action. So, Shemar, I hope you get it figured out. Cincinnati, I hope you get it figured out. And just read your contracts, people. With that being said, Murph and I have some cards to talk about. GG Cards and Breaks gave us not one, but two live trade nights. Tuesday at Sports Zone Academy off of Court Street in Syracuse, and this past Thursday at the Wildcat Sports Pub, a proud partner of over 8 years with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on 3680 Milton Avenue, Camillus, New York. And for the first time ever, I think my stack beats Murph's. This is my stack of cards.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
that's all I got.
Yeah, this is my new stack of cards that I got, and the majority of it came. Now, some of this is from GG Cards and Breaks. There's 3 in here from that. Some are from a deal with Murph, and some are from Tuesday. The overwhelming majority of this massive lot comes from Thursday at the Wildcat, where I allowed myself to walk around, which I don't typically do because I'm usually at my booth itself, and I decided to walk around, and I found some absolutely incredible stuff. I want to thank everybody, and thank you for the follows on social media. To all the people that follow me on there, all the sports card places and the great people. I appreciate you. And thank you to the woman that came out and said to me, I am at the show here tonight because I saw your post on social media. I was told to come and speak with you, and I listen and watch your show. So shout out to her for coming over and for sharing everything with us. And just thanks to everybody. So Murph, I'll let you go first, and then I'll hit you with mine.
I'll go quick because I know you definitely got more quantity than I do. I got bigger cards, but cool cards, but you've also got a lot of cool cards too. So, like I said, I don't want to take up too much time. I'll start with the graded. This is a rookie Don Larson from 1954 Bowman.
Nice.
That is a PSA 4. This is an all-star rookie. Oh, I didn't realize that there was a crease in it. Well, I guess that's why it's a 2. Johnny Bench, all-star cup rookie. PSA 2 from 1969. Matt Shaw, first Bowman refractor auto. We've got a Wyatt Langford Bowman Sapphire first Bowman.
Nice.
And then we've got, this is a really cool one. You've obviously seen this one already. Got this from the guys at GG Cards at Break. So Josh and Anthony, thank you. This is a Signs of Success classic portrait, Ken Griffey Jr. cut auto.
Nice. Yeah, I did.
That was sick. That was one of my favorite purchases of the weekend. Then we'll go into some of these, and I'll save like the real good ones for the end. We got a Cam Smith first Bowman auto. We've got an Agustin Ramirez first Bowman auto. We got a Royce Lewis rookie refractor auto. We've got a Champion Signatures Prism number 25 of Dwayne Wade. We've got a Topps Inception auto number 150 of Jaden Daniels.
Nice.
We've got a Donruss Downtown of Puka Nacua. Surprised I still have that one, to be quite honest with you.
Puka.
And then these are the big ones here. We've got a Topps 35th anniversary auto of James Wood of the Washington Nationals. We've got a first Bowman refractor number 499 auto of Jack Caglione. And then we've got this one. This is my favorite pickup of the whole week. One of the coolest cards I've ever owned. It is a rookie auto from Topps Finest of Albert Pujols.
Pujols. Yes, that was the one that you got. It's like crazy expensive.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a big card, and it is a really cool card.
I remember when Josh showed it to you. I had seen it in the case, and then Josh showed it to you, and he's like, "Well, if you want to spend some money, we got this one here." And they definitely. Can you put it up one more time? That Pujols.
Oh yeah,
Such a nice card.
it's a sick card.
Yeah.
It's an
So-
awesome card. I
so-
love it.
So my
I almost
babies.
don't want to sell it.
That's true. So my baby's here. A lot of different babies. And so this is from a deal with Murph. J.J. McCarthy, rookie PSA 9. We have a Kevin Durant, rookie of the Sonics, who the NBA had talked last week about them looking at potential expansion. And I asked y'all if you want to go back to Seattle. A lot of you said yes. I asked you if you want to be the Sonics again. A lot of you said yes. This is his rookie card on the Sonics, PSA 8. And then I got these 3 cards from GG Cards and Breaks, which I'll show in a second. I got this one from Josh. This is not an actual autograph. It's just a refractor rookie card out of 100 here of Jordan Lawler. It's another Lawler that I have with my giant Diamondbacks and Lawler collection within my Diamondbacks collection. I love this stained glass. I love it because it's stained glass,
Yep.
and I love church, and I love God, and I love my Zags. And I got to speak with Jalen Suggs, so happy to have that one. And this is from Alex, who works at GG Cards and Breaks. It is a 4-color patch. It is a solar patch, Obsidian of Trevor Lawrence. I had a patch that was 4 colors, and it was actually 2 different patches, one of them being 4 colors, of Leonard Fournette. I had someone buy it from me at Fishtown Card Show in Philadelphia, and that's what he literally said. He goes, "I'm not even a fan of the Jaguars. It's just a sick patch." This one reminds me of that. It is black, gold, teal, and white of Trevor Lawrence, and there's only 25 in the world, and it's almost my birthday. If you look at it, 10 of 25, I am 1021. And then these are from GG Cards and Breaks. This is one of the thickest cards I have in my collection. This is David Cohn's autograph. It's 2 of 5 in the world. So David Cohn, welcome home. Then we have Chucky Knobloch. And so there's Chucky's autograph, refractor here. So I've been picking up Yankee autographs, and I did not know this. PSA 9, Max Scherzer started his career as a Diamondback, and so did the man that a lot of people don't know this either, but Jazz Chisholm. So we got Diamondback and Diamondback here showing each other love. And so Max Scherzer, I just love it because I'm actually going to put it next to Chiz. So I got my Diamondback graded ones here. Then I picked up a bunch of other stuff. I made a bunch of trades with kids on Thursday night. Had a lot of fun with the kids that always come out to GG Cards and Breaks trade nights. So shout out to them. And so I got a rookie card of Luis Gil. So one of the young kids came over to me. I think we traded like 4 or 5 times. Dante Nori, Bowman first of the Phillies. That's for you, Jerry. This is from Josh from GG Cards and Breaks. It's a piece of Jacob deGrom's jersey as a Met from Allen and Ginter. Josh Lowe, rookie card. I did a little trade for that. One of the kids. Carson Kelly, a trade with one of the kids. And Ryan Velade of the Rockies did a rookie card trade with one of the kids as well. And then these also came from it. The 2 different Michael Penixes, as you could see in Hot Atlanta. I got
Those
this
are cool. I wonder where you got them.
from Murph. And then
Yes, sir.
And then I got this one from my buddy Curtis. And so this is Diami Brown. Obviously, he's at North Carolina. I cover the Tar Heels of more than a decade in my coverage of the ACC. He's also a Jaguar now. And I got this of a guy who has been on my show. And I cannot believe that I have lived a life where I can say that this man has actually been on my show. It's number 13 of 25 in the world. Tony Dorsett's immaculate autograph. And Tony has been on the show courtesy of my good buddy Al Romano, who made it happen. I love you, Al, as you know. And then I got this one, another Yankee autograph. This is an on-card auto of one of my favorite Yankees. And this is from, got to give a shout out to Anthony, not Anthony Campbell from GG Cards or Breaks, who does great things, But another Anthony Marone. I got this from him on Thursday. Jorge Posada on card auto.
Ooh,
A little
nice.
Yankee love. And then
Nice case for it too.
I know. And then speaking of Yankees, I got this on Thursday. 37 of 99. It is the green sapphire here. It is an on card auto. Bowman first of Yankee pitcher Ben Hess,
Okay.
which is in very good
A good
shape.
one.
I got this one. I'm going to try to say this guy's name. Hyun So Jung. Bowman first. 10 on the auto, 9.5 on the card. SGC autograph here. On card auto of a Dodger. And then I have my
Nice.
select red parallel refractor jersey rookie card of JJ McCarthy. I did well with these with CJ Stroud, so I'm going to probably maybe send this one out. JJ McCarthy's NFL debut, the horizontal edition. Then I got the turbocharged select rookie card of Bo Nix. I got this really cool contours whiteout here of Bo Nix rookie card. I have the select, love this refractor, and it's a red, white, and blue of Bo Nix. So that one's there to show.
There we
And
go.
then, I didn't hit those yet. So I'm going to leave these two till the end, and then I'm going to hit these. So here's my biggins. So I have Jaden Daniels Finesse from Topps Chrome, which is a very cool insert here. These are
Nice.
all rookies. Color guard piece of the jersey rookie of Jaden Daniels. We have a rated rookie retro refractor Jaden Daniels 9 PSA rookie Donruss. And then I have this one that I traded for and had no idea what it was worth here. Really nice card. I may send this card out, and it is Jaden Daniels rookie here, as you can see, from Elite inside of Panini. And then I have Notoriety, a PSA 9 card of Jaden Daniels, an insert there of his. It's really cool. And then I got a CGC 9 Absolute of Jaden Daniels rookie card. And then I got these two big Jaden Daniels rookies. It's the same card but different. So you got the pink parallel refractor of his rookie card here that I got in a deal for a bunch of cards. And then I got this baby by himself, and a guy gave me a really good deal on it, and I probably will be able to get more here. This is the Stars refractor, rated rookie
Nice.
of Jaden Daniels, and you could see the stars all around, and if you look at the actual thing itself, the stars do show up around Jaden as
That
you
they
move
do.
it. It's really beautiful, a lot more beautiful up close and personal as well. Got my first Kyle McCord Syracuse card, which a lot of people like. It's one of 3 that you will find here for him in the wild card world. And I got my first ever, thanks to Josh, my first ever Skeens. Paul Skeens rookie card, PSA refractor, Major League Baseball All-Star Game. It is his rookie card, and it is a PSA 9. It is the first Paul Skeens rookie card that I have ever touched and had it be my own. So shout out to Skeens for coming home. And Josh has one and I have one. So shout out to Skeens, who is now in-house. And so I got a lot of great stuff, was completely spoiled over at the wonderful GG Cards and Breaks trade nights. And the one that we had that was at, they were both great. Sports Zone Academy, I didn't get to walk around much. The one at the Wildcat, I was the first person there, got there before anybody, went to the stage, there was no one in the room, and as people came in, and Josh came in, he looked around, I looked around, and I found so many good things, and I want to shout out everyone that did a deal with me, that bought from me, traded with me, or that sold to me. These cards are not in my collection if not for you all, so shout out to y'all. My Jaden Daniels collection is insane now. Very excited. It's just missing a thing or two. And yeah, so I got a lot of stuff to sell, and I can bring some of the stuff to bigger shows, so I'm happy to have it. So with
For
that,
sure, man. That trade night on Tuesday was a lot of fun. So I was happy to be there, and it was a lot of fun. We went over to the shop after the show. So big thanks to Josh and Anthony for having us over there. Spent a lot of money with them, so It's one of those things where they were able to do some deals with me and take care of me, and I very much appreciate that.
Yeah, so it's definitely a good thing to be able to do these things in the community, and GG Cards and Breaks, I don't know anybody better. So make sure you go out and see them on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6, and on Sundays from 10 to 5. For now, from Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, I want to thank you for being a part of the show. Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Go and visit them Monday through Saturday for sales and service, and find your next ride today. New and used vehicles to buy and lease. Many thanks to you for watching and listening on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com, internet streaming radio. And of course, thanks for being with us on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. Search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Make sure to subscribe and to follow us for free on any one of these outlets. Many thanks to where we're going to be this week down in North Carolina. Thanks to our North Carolinian listeners and visitors. Brooklyn Pickles down in Southern Pines on 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. Do not miss a moment of those awesome sandwiches that found their way from central and upstate New York all the way down to North Carolina. First in flight. These sandwiches will bring you off the ground. Make sure you get to Brooklyn Pickle today. And many thanks to our team of partners in central and upstate New York. I am spoiled to work with. Great Lakes Honda City, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Canine Camp, Dog Daycare, Mother's Cupboard, Brian's Landing, MON-FRI, the snack capital of the world, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Pizza Man, GG Cards and Breaks, Avicoli's, and we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. You'll find the Dolphins every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time during Dolphin Time. Student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. Go to youtube.com /WakeUpCallDT. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell. Find the Lemoyne playlist. You'll also find the Dolphins on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com. And as always, fins up. We are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse as well. The Bobcat Buzz coming to you every single month with student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni throughout the year telling their stories in a way you've never seen before. The Bobcats are with you on youtube.com /WakeUpCallDT. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find the BSC Syracuse playlist. You'll find the Bobcats as well by going to WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to Syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. And of course, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Binghamton University Bearcats. Find your Bearcats every Tuesday at 10 a.m. during Bearcat Time, featuring the Bearcat Break Room and Moments with Marshall. You'll find student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni all throughout the year with Binghamton University. Go to youtube.com /WakeUpCallDT. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Binghamton playlist on our YouTube channel. You'll also find the Bearcats on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to BinghamtonBearcats.com. And as always, go Bearcats. And I can't thank you enough for being a part of the show inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Find us on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, X at CallDT, Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. Do not miss being in any one of those places and following us, as the ACC kickoff and the AAC kickoff will be carried on all of our outlets. So do not miss a moment of my time in Charlotte. 31 teams in 4 days, and we gonna do it. So make sure you're there with us all the way through it. And as always, God bless, no stress, do your best. From the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, this is Wake Up Call. You are amazing, and don't let anybody take your light away. Shine bright, and know that God loves you.